Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so today we're digging into the materials you sent over about this individual named 77. Really fascinating story. Have you ever had that feeling? Like you're on a career path, but it just doesn't quite fit?
Mhm.
Or maybe wondered if there's a way to really design your work, your life more on your own terms? Well, 77's journey, it really challenges those kinds of conventional ideas. And we think listening to her story might get you thinking differently about your own path.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to trace her evolution, from this top high school student all the way to becoming a high-earning freelance professional, leading a team of, 100 people?
100 people
Yeah,
and completely transforming her career, not just once, but multiple times.
right. And our mission here for you is to unpack not just what she did, but really how she managed such drastic shifts. What did she learn about herself, about work? And crucially, what insights can you maybe take away and apply to your own situation, whether you're like just starting out or maybe thinking about a big change yourself?
Yeah. Get ready for some aha moments, seriously.
Yeah.
And here's something that jumps out right from the start, which is really interesting. This person, 77, she describes herself as introverted. Initially thought she was, frankly, terrible with people,
Uh-huh.
and yet she discovered her greatest talent was actually in sales.
It's kind of wild, isn't it? How does someone like that make such a huge pivot? We're definitely going to explore that.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Her story starts back in Beijing. Top high school, one of the best. Academically, always doing well.
Yeah, on the surface, it looks like the perfect setup, right, for that conventional, successful future.
Totally.
But what's interesting is that she herself says she wasn't particularly, self-disciplined or goal-oriented in that sort of traditional way. The expectation for a good student there was just, well, it was a clear path. A good university, then a good job. Very defined.
Right.
She was good at playing that game, navigating the system, but maybe it wasn't entirely like her own deep-seated drive.
And it sounds like even back then, she had this rebellious streak.
Mhm.
She called it having the anti-bone idea.
Huh, yeah. That tendency to push back a bit.
Exactly. So instead of staying in Beijing for university, she deliberately chose Fudan in Shanghai, specifically to get away, get some independence.
A conscious move.
And then her major, software engineering, again, not really about a deep love for coding.
Right, it was more practical reasons, wasn't it? Interest in electronics, maybe, liking results-oriented work.
Yeah, and wanting simpler relationships, maybe trying to avoid, complex office dynamics later on.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How often do we make those big early choices based on, well, what seems logical or what's expected, or just, external factors rather than what truly aligns with us personally? Her early choices, they seemed practical, but they weren't really rooted in a love for the field.
And that definitely set the stage for what came next.
Absolutely.
So fast forward a bit. After university, she does what many would see as the perfect career move. Joins a huge internet company in Shenzhen. A developer role.
Yeah, the coveted dream job for so many grads, right? Stability, prestige, good money.
Right.
But, and this is the striking part, within just a year and a half, she knew, unequivocally, she disliked the tech work.
Really? Just like that?
Yeah, she felt she was only okay at it. Normal was her word. Didn't have the patience for all the debugging, didn't find any real joy or sense of achievement in it. And despite, the great education, the prestigious job, she felt this deep frustration, questioning her value, where she fit. It's a feeling I think a lot of people can probably relate to.
That sort of creeping feeling of just being adequate, maybe, not really thriving.
Exactly. And there was a specific moment, a trigger for her.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
She mentioned contrasting herself with this colleague, someone who was incredibly passionate, self-taught actually, and just
Yeah.
brilliant at tech, even without the fancy academic background. And seeing that stark difference, it just highlighted her own lack of passion, her lack of real impact. For her, it clicked. It wasn't about capability. She was smart enough.
It was about the alignment.
Precisely. It was about alignment. She had this realization, quite powerful, that being like a standardized screw in this huge company meant she was replaceable. And maybe outside that specific system, she felt she might be, well, nothing. That sparked what she called an early awakening.
Wow. That's a tough realization. 'Cause what does she do? Most people would maybe just start looking for another tech job.
Not her. She made this incredibly bold move. She quit. Naked, as she put it. No backup job lined up.
Well,
And then she just took off, embarked on a 3-month gap year trip. U.S., Europe. Inspired, she said, by foreign friends who valued taking time out, seeing the world outside the 9-to-5 churn.
I mean, just walking away from that kind of job, no safety net, That takes serious guts, especially in
Yep.
that kind of environment.
It really does. And there was a crucial factor that enabled this fearless pivot.
What was that?
Her mother's incredible financial foresight, really. Her mom had encouraged her to save consistently, like 5,000 RMB a month, even made her cut up credit cards. A real savings habit.
Okay.
So when 77 decided to quit, her mother hands her this bank card, had 100,000 RMB on it.
Yeah.
Her savings, plus some investments her mom had made for her, and 77 called it her FU money.
Okay, that's a vivid term.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it perfectly captures that idea of financial independence as, like, a tool for freedom. That cushion gave her the confidence to actually explore without the immediate pressure of needing an income. She could make choices based on what she really wanted, not just what she needed financially right then.
That's huge. So after the travels, the journey continues. And it sounds like it became this series of, well, almost accidental explorations.
Yeah, that's how she described it. Accidental, but really insightful. Each step kind of built on the last, often in ways she didn't expect.
So first,
First, she joined an internet startup. Used her background, obviously, to understand how products get built from scratch. Got that smaller, more agile perspective.
makes sense.
Then, and this is pretty remarkable, even though she had zero finance background, an angel investor invites her to join his fund.
Wait, really? An angel investor. Just like that.
Yep. Focusing on early-stage TMT projects, technology, media, telecom.
Okay, hang on. How does that even happen? Someone with no finance experience gets pulled into venture capital. What did he see in her?
That's exactly what's so interesting. The investor apparently wasn't focused on the lack of direct experience at all.
Oh.
Instead, he valued her network, her university alumni connections, her professional contacts. He saw her curiosity, her innate ability to connect with people, transferable skills, right? And maybe a knack for building relationships.
So he saw potential beyond the resume.
Totally. And get this, in less than a year, she reviewed almost 100 projects.
100. Wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot for someone new to VC. Must have been a steep learning curve.
Absolutely. And reviewing that many projects without a finance background, I mean, how did she actually add value? What was her approach?
Yeah, good question.
Well, it seems it forced her to think differently. She had to quickly grasp the value chain in venture capital. She figured out that for these early stage investors, the value wasn't just about the big exit way down the line like an IPO. It was also about connecting projects to later stage investors, securing that follow-on funding.
Ah, so being a connector.
Exactly. Her process became less about just analyzing spreadsheets and more about leveraging her network, talking to founders, understanding market trends, and crucially, seeing where her connections could bridge gaps. She wasn't just an analyst, she became a facilitator, a deal maker in a sense.
Did it work?
Did it ever? This insight paid off big time. She successfully brokered a 150 million RMB acquisition of an early project.
150 million RMB.
Wow. Yeah. Earned her what she called her first bucket of gold, and obviously a great return for the fund. Phenomenal outcome, especially considering she was, maybe a year out of being a developer with no finance training.
That's incredible.
This period really shows her ability to, think like an owner, right? A value creator. She wasn't just doing tasks. She found that unique intersection of her skills, her network, her insights, and generated real value. It shows that those transferable skills, having a sharp eye for opportunity, being willing to use your network. Sometimes that's way more valuable than just having the right line on your resume.
So,
She wasn't boxed in by her past titles. She focused on what she could do now.
okay, so success in VC.
Yeah.
But the journey didn't stop there, right? Things kept evolving. What happened next?
Well, despite that success, she then tried her hand at entrepreneurship herself. Spent about 2 years on a venture, invested her own money and a lot of effort. And it didn't really take off. No significant results. So around age 30, she returned to Beijing. And this time, she actually faced the reality of a traditional job search for the first time, looking for a standard role.
Oof. After all that nonlinear experience, how did that go?
Not well. She said it was a real low point. Recruiters were apparently quite critical, questioning her lack of career planning, calling her resume jumpy.
Ouch. That must have stung.
Yeah, I imagine so. It felt like an attack on the very path she'd taken. But instead of just trying harder to fit into that box, that mold that clearly wasn't her.
She reflected.
Exactly. It pushed her into some really deep introspection.
So, after all these different roles, the startup, the VC success, the failed venture, the recruiter pushback, what did she finally decide she actually wanted from work? Like stripping away all the external expectations.
This seems to be where things really crystallized for her. a moment of real clarity. She identified some key things,
Mike, what?
like a strong aversion to commuting and fixed 9 to 5 hours. She wanted true flexibility. A deep need for high autonomy, meaning no office politics, no trying to please bosses just to get ahead.
Makes sense.
And really importantly, she wanted her income to be directly tied to her effort and the value she created, independent of any single company or platform.
So not just about the job title anymore. It was about the structure, the freedom, the direct link between effort and reward.
Precisely. It's interesting how often we define what we want by figuring out what we absolutely don't want, right? That frustration, that self-reflection, it was pivotal for her.
So armed with these really clear, non-negotiable criteria, where did she look next? What fit that description?
Well, this is where it gets interesting again with these crystal clear criteria in mind. She stumbled upon the world of insurance brokerage.
Insurance brokerage.
Yeah, a field she'd initially just dismissed, thought it was unstable, no fixed salary, maybe just okay as a side hustle, totally off her radar.
I could see that. I think a lot of people might have that initial reaction. What made her look twice at something she'd already written off?
She started looking at it through her new lens, through that desire for autonomy. She realized, wait a minute, this is actually like a low-capital startup.
How so?
It allowed her to build her own personal brand, attract her own clients directly, and eventually build and cultivate a team for passive income. It ticked all her boxes: autonomy, value creation tied to effort, independence.
So it wasn't just a job. It was potentially a business model for the kind of freedom she wanted. And she could scale it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there was this market insight that really sealed the deal, made her see it as potentially her lifelong calling.
Okay, what was the insight?
She dug into the numbers. She found that China, back in 2017, was already the second largest insurance market in the world by premium volume. Huge market.
Right.
But globally, it ranked near the bottom in terms of insurance depth and density, meaning how much insurance people actually had relative to the economy or population.
So a massive gap. Lots of money flowing in, but maybe not efficiently or to the right places.
Yeah. Precisely. It pointed to this huge incremental market, massive untapped growth potential for professionals who could actually serve that need well. People had money, but maybe not the right advice or products.
That's a significant opportunity. How did she see that playing out long-term for her personally?
Well, she connected it to a broader trend. The specific model she was looking at, the multi-company insurance broker offering products from various insurers, was only like 4% of the market in China then.
Tiny.
Yeah. And she noted that's comparable to where the U.S. market was back in 1984.
Okay.
But fast forward 3 decades in the U.S., and that independent broker model had grown to capture 68% of the market.
Wow, huge shift.
Huge shift. So she saw this clear, predictable growth trajectory, a rising demand for professional, high-quality, long-term advisors as consumers got savvier, had more choices, more complex needs. She saw, in her words, a ceiling she couldn't reach in her lifetime.
That's powerful, that combination of personal fit and massive market potential.
Exactly. It was that rare alignment, her values, a huge market opportunity, and long-term potential. She was getting in relatively early on a major industry transformation.
So she wasn't just finding a job.
Yeah.
She identified a massive market opportunity that fit her perfectly and offered incredible runway. And look where she is now, earning around 2 million RMB a year, top 50 in her company out of over 20,000 people, leading a team of over 100.
Remarkable.
And it's created this community around her, too. A lot of her team members are apparently highly educated women who, like her, were looking for that work-life balance, that sense of purpose, and found it in this model.
Yeah.
It's kind of a testament to building something that not only works for you, but empowers others, too.
That's a fantastic outcome, especially for someone who prized autonomy so highly. But,
Right.
Okay, leading a team of 100-plus people, how does she manage that without falling back into the rigid structures or office politics she hated? That seems like a challenge for someone seeking freedom. That's a really good question. And it points to something crucial she learned. She realized that even with all this freedom, maybe because of it, in this freelance world without external guardrails,
Yeah.
self-discipline and routine became even more critical. It's almost paradoxical, right?
Yeah.
The more external freedom you have, the more internal structure you actually need to function effectively.
So freedom requires discipline.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
She set up a regular schedule, even got a separate studio away from home to create clear boundaries between work and life. to prioritize her health, especially during crunch times, like when insurance products get discontinued or the market shifts. It shows that real freedom often needs a strong internal framework to sustain it.
Makes sense. Now, looking back, 77 says she doesn't regret her choices, but she does offer some really powerful insights, especially for people who might have similar personalities or face similar crossroads.
Yeah, her first piece of advice is basically break out of your bubble early. Meaning, when you first suspect a job isn't the right fit, don't just bury your head in the sand or let work consume all your time and energy. Actively carve out time to explore, talk to different kinds of people, look into different possibilities, be proactive about exposure.
Don't just wait for things to change.
Right. She does acknowledge that the platform of a first job can be really important for retagging yourself, shifting how the professional world sees you, especially if you come from a less privileged background. But don't get stuck there just because it's prestigious or comfortable if it's fundamentally not right for you.
So seek out diverse experiences, diverse conversations, even if it feels a bit awkward at first.
Exactly. Go to meetups, talk to people in different fields, expand your perspective beyond your immediate world.
Okay, and her second piece of advice, which you mentioned earlier, and it's maybe the most surprising one.
Yeah, especially coming from a self-described introvert, it's to cultivate emotional intelligence and empathy.
Right. The introvert turned top salesperson. How did she frame that?
Well, she admits she found it challenging initially, but becoming a salesperson forced her to realize just how critical it is to deeply understand what other people want, especially people who might hold the keys to opportunities for you, and figuring out how to create value for them, not just push your own agenda. It's not about being loud or extroverted.
It's about being observant,
Yeah.
strategic.
Yes, exactly. Profoundly observant and strategic in how you interact.
So it's not just about being nice or schmoozing. It's about genuine understanding that leads to influence.
Precisely. She says it's not about mere flattery or trying to manipulate people. It's about truly understanding human needs, perspectives, motivations, and then strategically offering solutions or value based on that understanding. She uses this phrase like a 4 ounces deflects 1,000 pounds approach. Meaning a small, thoughtful effort, a genuine insight into what someone else truly needs or values can have a massive impact. Much more than just loudly stating your own case, this ability to influence by understanding others' needs, rather than just focusing on your own, she argues, dramatically increases your chances of success. Anywhere. In the workplace, in sales, even in personal relationships, it's about building bridges through empathy.
Wow. That's a powerful reframing, especially for introverts who might think sales or networking isn't for them.
Totally.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening right now, thinking about your own career? 77's story is just such a powerful testament, isn't it? That your path doesn't have to be this straight, predictable line.
Not at all. Her journey really hammers home the importance of self-awareness, right? Knowing what you truly want, and maybe even more importantly, what you absolutely don't want. It shows the courage it takes sometimes, like quitting naked, trusting your gut, the massive enabling power of financial independence for creating real freedom. And yeah, that unexpected power of truly understanding and connecting with others, even if you're more introverted.
It really feels like the path to finding meaningful work,
Yeah.
work you direct yourself, often involves shedding those external expectations, being willing to explore, maybe even fail, and then strategically figuring out where your unique value, your unique way of being, can meet a real need in the market. There's a blend of intuition, bravery, and smart analysis.
So here's maybe a provocative thought for you to chew on this week. If your current path feels, well, a bit misaligned maybe, what's one small concrete step you could actually take this week to break out of your bubble, maybe explore a different perspective, or maybe try to better understand what really motivates someone who could potentially open a door for you? Just one small step.
Great food for thought. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into 77's really fascinating career journey. We hope her insights have sparked some fresh ideas for your own path.